Hello my friends, welcome back to another video. Today I figured I'd give a bit of a recap of my spinal cord stimulator, my journey to getting it, how it works, and that whole spiel. So the reason for getting it is I have widespread CRPS type 2. I developed CRPS after I shattered my left heel in January of 2018. Unfortunately, I had some pretty bad surgeons, and so it took 3 surgeons, or the 3rd surgeon, to finally get my foot right. But in the midst of that, I had been complaining of pain and my foot turning black and all that, but that got ignored. And it wasn't until that 3rd surgeon, after he had done his surgery, he sent me to a pain management specialist who immediately said, "You have CRPS." And he tried sympathetic nerve blocks, but the 2nd sympathetic block is what spread my CRPS to my entire body from basically here down, rendering me basically bedbound in pain at basically a 9 or 10, 24 hours a day. I was in a hospital and then a rehab for a month, and the one sort of saving grace was in the background. We had already started the process of getting me a trial for a spinal cord stimulator, and so I went in, had the trial done, and even though the trial is painful, like the procedural side of it is painful, I could immediately tell that it was drastically improving my quality of life. Because before having that trial put in, I couldn't even sit up for more than 5 minutes without being in tears. There were these, it was so important to distinguish between how little I could do before and how it felt now, because you had to sort of block out the procedure pain, or else you'd say, "Oh, it was a failure, it made me hurt more." But no, it was a grand success. Even the nurse who, when I went back into the office to have the trial removed, she's like, you're like a completely different person. Because in the past, I would be just about in tears, in pain, and I would spend my appointment flat on my back, just dying in pain. And so after the trial, I wanted that permanent in as soon as possible. And thankfully I had an amazing surgeon, neurosurgeon, do it. You want to try your best to get a neurosurgeon to do it. And I got the Boston Scientific Wave Rider with a 32 contact paddle. And I know there's a debate, paddles versus leads, but from sort of anecdotal evidence and my own experience, I feel like the paddle is the way to go. I know it involves having a laminectomy, and back surgery is no fun. This whole procedure was no fun. Having that permanent device put in was excruciating. I'd say that first week was the most pain I've had in my life. I couldn't even sit up by myself. But after that, 2 weeks of absolute horror, things started to quiet down. And I noticed my pain was quieting down. And there were some hiccups along the way, because as you're healing, you're developing scar tissue around that paddle, and a few times the scar tissue interfered with the signal. One time it felt like I had a little stim thing shooting out of my tailbone. So I turned the stimulator off because it was hurting. But it's become a part of me, and it's given me so much life back. I still have a lot of limitations, and I still do live in chronic pain because my left foot is so messed up. But, just being able to sit here and talk, people take that for granted. I took it for granted. But just being able to do little things like that, it's a game changer. And this thing it runs inside me. It's hooked up in, the paddles in my spine, and then the wires go down to my hip, and the wave rider is a little below my belt line, and probably every 2 weeks I take the charger. What you do is you hit this button, and not sure if you can hear it beeping, but it will beep until it knows it's over your thing. Or that, yeah, until it knows that it's over your device. I can't do it right now because I'm not laying down. And then I have my remote. It's really big. I almost took the telephone with me the other day because it's the same color and the same size. But I take this everywhere I go. Barely really need to touch it because I stay on essentially the same program all the time and turn it up only when my pain is really, really bad. But so yeah, I got this little puppy over here. I want to take a little look. As you see, for the program I'm on, I don't keep it super high. I sort of like to have it, as they term it, sub-threshold, where you don't feel the tingling as much. I sort of prefer it that way, although if my pain gets to a point where I want something to literally distract my mind from it, I will turn that puppy up and take a nap, or try to at least take a nap. So I guess that sort of sums that up. I know a lot of people are curious about the whole spinal cord stimulator thing. It is certainly not for everyone, but if you're sort of on your last leg, you've tried all of their options, because this is an extreme option. I would say try it. I know there's been stuff on the news and articles that the spinal cord stimulator has ruined my life, but it's also really improved a lot of lives too. As with anything, you're going to have your successes and your failures, and I'd say, at least for me, this has been a huge success. And if you're thinking about it and you go ahead with it, I really wish you all the best, because it's given me my life back. Alright, thanks for listening. I will get back to you guys later on.